To perform serratus anterior exercises, you need to have a good understanding of the scapula and the inferior angle of the scapula, which is the green little dot at the tip of the shoulder blade in this image. In this image, the tip of the shoulder blade, or the inferior angle, is way too close to the spine. So in our exercises, we'll be pulling that inferior angle more towards the side of the rib cage. When the serratus anterior is in a healthy tension, it helps to pull the tip of that shoulder blade, or the inferior angle, more towards the side of the rib cage, helping to lift the rib cage up into a neutral position for good breathing mechanics. When that tension is lax, it starts to roll that shoulder forward and wing the tip of the shoulder blade off of the rib cage. This, more likely than not, will increase upper trap tension in that rounded shoulder position. The first two exercises of this series is just a test to see if the serratus anterior is a muscle that you need to work on. Start by facing the wall with your forearms on the wall, elbows at shoulder height. You will then reach the shoulders forward through the elbows from that inferior angle, as I do right here. It slightly shifts forward, and then from there, I'm reaching through that tip of the shoulder blade, through my armpit, through the elbows into the wall, keeping the width of my back nice and wide to get that nice breath through that mid-back or that bra line. If I struggle to use the serratus or overuse the pec, when I reach through the shoulder blade, it will overly round that upper back instead of getting more of the width through the bra line. Here's another example of what it would look like if you needed to work more on your serratus anterior. As you can see, on my right shoulder blade, I used to have a winging of that tip of the shoulder blade, and it was very close to the spine. The second exercise is just to see what happens to the rib cage as you breathe. When you take that inhale, do the ribs expand side to side? Hot exhale. You still keep the height of your spine. Inhale, it expands. Exhale, you feel the softening of the belly. Or does the rib cage lift and sink those shoulder blades around up and forward into the neck every time you take that inhale? Exhale is a collapse. If that is the case, it could be a good sign that the serratus anterior needs some strengthening to help give you information about where your rib cage should be positioned in space. Our first exercise is going to look a lot like the initial test. So we set up the same, forearms on the wall at 90 degrees of shoulder and elbow, and then reach up the wall, allowing for that inferior angle of the scapula to glide and slide along the side of the rib cage as you reach up. As you bring the elbows back down, that inferior angle again glides along the side of the rib cage back towards the spine in the way that it came. Things to look out for would be arching the low back and rib flaring forward, as well as over rounding that upper back by using too much pec. The second exercise is using the serratus reach from the side body to aid in rotation. So as I'm reaching up, it's rotating the chest forward. I'll flip the palm to face my feet, let the shoulder blade slightly glide along the rib cage, reach through the arm as I flip the palm to face forward, and that engages that serratus at that end of the reach to help rotate, connecting to my anterior oblique sling across those obliques. One thing to note is that I could have put something underneath my head here, but I would want to make sure that it's not propped up high enough that my head is side bending towards the top shoulder. Here is a view from the back showing that the shoulder blade has very minimal glide. I'm not letting it wing or fall towards the spine as I get that rotation back. So it's a one-to-one small amount of movement of shoulder blade as that chest rotates, and then reach through the arm, let it engage that side body, and let it help rotate at the end. Version 2 of this exercise is a bigger range of motion, really reaching through my armpit out that elbow to get the serratus to still stay slightly on as it connects through to that bicep, and then I'll reach it up through the arm and finish it out with that connection of serratus across that anterior oblique sling. You can take a moment in that rotation to really find some space and openness to the pec. Lastly, as you perform this exercise and you're rotating, make sure the knees stay together and they don't come apart. The third and last exercise is a banded serratus reach. So it's hooked up behind you around the front of the shoulder. As that arm reaches forward, it comes from the scapula. That inferior angle, that tip of the shoulder blade reaches around the side of the rib cage to get that arm to reach forward. And then it retracts back.